Peace and love, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. This is Yaku, Mr. Calm Guy here. And all I want to talk about is a stimulation, right? A lot of us are addicted to it. We're dependent on it. And let me ask you a few questions to see if you are, right? Do you have any issue or difficulty, right, with solitude? Do you find silence to be unbearable at times? And at any time, do you see drama to be like a double-edged sword in your life? You hate it when it's there, but you miss it when it's gone. And if this relates to you in any way, there's a good chance that you're dependent or addicted to stimulation. And you're not alone in this. We're all in this in some way, right? And when people say they want tranquility, right, they say that on one end, but when you really observe people, you see on another end, they crave to be disturbed, they crave chaos, they crave upheaval. Right? The reason for this is simple. Many of us were spoon-fed this level of intensity, right? Literally from the cradle, right? Some of us were born into families, right, of conflict which breed animosity and cause daily disturbance, which means from young, we were forced to adapt to this kind of high level of energy, right? We're forced to kind of adjust to it, right? And unfortunately, a lot of us got used to it. Unfortunately, a lot of us even expect it in our lives, right? Then we go out in the world, right? And we see that there's another plethora of disturbances, emergencies, right? Crises, right? And all of them are begging for our attention, and all of them are arousing our emotions, right? And that's the thing, is that even though you might not like getting angry, you might not enjoy it, but your body, there's a good chance that you're getting high off of it. Not only do we get a surge of energy that is produced whenever we tune into these emotions, the more we tune into them, the more likely they are to be turned into routine, right? And the reason for this is because our bodies are remembering the chemical imprint of these emotional states. So over time of us going into them again and again and again, right, our body starts to actually make this easy for us, right? And kind of, I would say, pave the road, right? So there isn't really a lot of resistance for us to kind of really get into that state or condition, right? In addition to that, our mind is always kind of outside looking for circumstances that can recreate the same results that we're used to. So what does this mean? It means that whenever we find ourselves in circumstances that doesn't match the level of stimulus or stimuli that we are used to, we will go out our way to find it, right? On one level, we can say that it might even have some merit, this mechanism, right? Maybe it contributes to our drive, maybe it contributes to our productivity, you know, that kind of yearning to kind of go out and do new things, right? But the negative is that it can actually cause us to have an allergic reaction to peace, silence, solitude, stillness, rest, right? And the only way we are going to be able to prevent, right, this allergic reaction or to overturn it, we're going to have to actually relearn or get adjusted, right? Maybe for the first time to peace, right? To quiet, to stillness, right? And this is something that's really, it sounds simple, but it's not in modern day, right? Where we have everything, right? That is some level of stimulus. We have TVs, we have music, we got movies, you know, we got technology, right? So we have all this stuff that is causing or giving us some stimulus. So if we actually do want to get readjusted to peace and stillness, we are going to have to go out our way to abstain, right? Even for a little while from all this noise, right? Even if just for a little bit. And that's the thing, right? Where we're going to have to really make it our mission to cultivate more peace in our lives by stepping away from the chaos, which we may be in without even knowing. Tried it for even one day, right? One day where you commit yourself to silence, where we're not going to answer our phones, right? We're not going to reach out to other people. We're not going to turn the TV. We're not going to listen to music. Very quickly, you're going to see how dependent you really are, right? All of us are, right? Especially nowadays, right? And that's the thing. You have to work at that. You have to see that, right? Where you can see like how unsettled we can be just in that silence, right? So this is where I'm advocating, where we need to treat it like a drug addiction. We need to treat it seriously, just like a drug addiction, right? And you know, if we did want to get over a drug addiction, it requires resolve, it requires resilience, it requires dedication. So if we want to have more tranquility in our lives, more peace in our lives, right, we're going to have to be dedicated as well. We're going to have resolve, right? We're also going to have that level of resilience, right, to get through this noise. Which sounds simple, but it's not, because it's everywhere. It's pervasive, right? So that's where we're trying to cultivate the silence from within ourselves so you can have more space, right, for you to retreat, right, from this chaos. And that's really the goal here, right? But the reason for the urgency of this matter is because many of us are unsettled in peace, right? Like literally, if we was to go into an environment which is quiet or silence, we feel unsettled. We feel disturbed just by being there, right? And it gets worse when people actually start to sabotage, right, different elements in their lives, right? Where they can have a beautiful relationship and nothing's really going on. Things are doing good. And because they're doing good, nothing's going on, right? But because of that, right, you would see people in their restlessness sabotage their relationship, right? They would do it in business. They would do it, right, in all walks of life. There's even people, right, who would literally make drama out of nothing simply to cut the silence, right? So the thing is, how are we ever going to have peace in our lives if we are allergic to it, right? So this is what we're working to overturn. We're working to get used to peace, used to silence, used to tranquility. These are things and these are elements that are not present in a lot of our lives. Now, what's so deep about this is that the stimulation is literally everywhere and is very intense. To give you an example, some people, a relaxation activity for them is watching TV, you know? I'm guilty of that, just like anyone else is, right? But now let's just look at the TV, just to give you an example, right? Even though it's a passive activity, right? It literally has thousands of pixels in which your brain has to literally process, right? There's audio, which literally you already understand the volume has a big thing to do with the intensity. If you're not in the mood for it, it might be too much or overwhelming for you, right? And in addition to that, we have the psychological and cognitive processes, right, of literally interpreting, processing, and literally feeling what is being seen, right? So the point being is that this is a lot of stimulus. It is a lot, right? So even though we may feel as passive because we don't have to like be engaged into it, it still is a lot for our brains, literally, right? So this is what we're kind of advocating, where we need rest. And then some people will go towards like sleep, right? Like, are you saying I should just go to sleep? But then the thing is, even in sleep, we're still turning our minds because we're dreaming, right? And our dreams are only but processing the waking content, right, that you haven't processed, right? So the thing is, it's still working. So that's where we need to help that process by cultivating or making it a point, right, to actually just have more peace in our lives, taking the time to relax, right? And I'm not advocating we throw it out our TVs, throw it out our phones. That's the last thing I'm doing, right? All I'm advocating is for balance. They say on average, people spend 3 hours a day on their phones. All I'm advocating is that we just take an hour, maybe 2 hours of silence with ourselves. And to leave you with a quote, right, which is from Pythagoras, right? As he says, right, a foolish man is known for his speech and a wise man is known for his silence. So let's be more silent, guys.